My parents told us only the most successful child would stay in the family and the others would be disowned. I was 14 when my parents sat the four of us down in the living room and announced the competition. My father stood by the fireplace with his hands clasped behind his back like he was giving a business presentation. My mother sat in her usual chair with a leather notebook open on her lap. My father explained that they'd spent years raising 4 children and pouring resources into all of us, but they'd realized this approach was inefficient. Instead of dividing their estate and attention 4 ways, they would focus everything on one child, the most successful one, the one who proved they deserved it. The rest of us would be removed from the will, cut off financially, and expected to leave the family permanently once we turned 18. My younger brother Isaiah was 12 and didn't fully understand what Dad was saying. He asked if this was like a game show and when we'd find out who won. My older sister Camilla was 16 and her face went completely white. She'd been planning to attend an expensive private college and our parents had promised to pay for it. My twin brother Kieran sat perfectly still next to me on the couch, his hands gripped tight on his knees. I could feel the tension radiating off him even though we weren't touching. Dad continued explaining the rules like he was laying out a business strategy. We would be evaluated on academic performance, extracurricular achievements, leadership qualities, and what he called life readiness skills. Every month, Mom would update her rankings based on our progress. We'd each receive a score out of 100, and those scores would determine everything from our allowances to whether we got to participate in family activities. The child in first place would get privileges and investment. The others would get the bare minimum required by law until we could be legally separated from the family. Mom opened her notebook and showed us the first month's rankings. Camilla was in first place with an 87. I was second with a 79. Kieran was third with a 71. Isaiah was last with a 63. She'd calculated these scores using a complex formula she'd developed over the past year without telling us. Academic grades counted for 40%, extracurricular involvement counted for 25%, household contributions counted for 20%, and something she called character assessment counted for 15%. That last category was completely subjective and based on her observations of our behavior. I asked what happened if we refused to participate, and my father's expression went cold in a way I'd never seen before. He said we were already participating whether we liked it or not. We lived in his house and relied on his money and followed his rules. That night after our parents went to bed, the 4 of us gathered in Camilla's room to talk. She was furious and scared at the same time, pacing back and forth across her carpet. She'd been the golden child her whole life, and now that position felt threatened. Isaiah was crying quietly because he didn't understand why our parents would do this. Kieran sat on the floor with his back against the wall, staring at nothing. I tried to suggest we could all just maintain our normal routines and refuse to compete, but Camilla immediately shut that down. She said if the rest of us didn't compete, she'd dominate the rankings by default, and then we'd all get disowned except her. Kieran pointed out that refusing to compete might actually be worse than competing because Mom's subjective character assessment could punish us for not trying. We were trapped in a system designed to pit us against each other, and there was no way to opt out without losing everything. The competition started affecting everything within the first week. Mom posted the monthly rankings on the refrigerator where we'd see them every day. Camilla's name was at the top in green marker. Mine was second in blue. Kieran's was third in yellow. Isaiah's was at the bottom in red. Seeing our names arranged in that hierarchy made something shift in how we interacted with each other. Camilla stopped helping Isaiah with his homework because boosting his scores might hurt her ranking. Kieran started staying up until 2 a.m. working on extra credit projects to close the gap between us. I found myself checking what my siblings were doing constantly, comparing my efforts to theirs, calculating whether I was falling behind. The monthly allowances reflected our rankings too. Camilla got $200, I got $100, Kieran got $50, Isaiah got $20. But when Isaiah asked why his allowance had dropped from the $50 he used to get, my father's answer changed everything. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below.